Perfection, everybody. That's looking good. Everybody's looking amazing. Just finished the beginner lighthouse every step video. That's awesome, Judy. That's really cool. I can't wait to see it. I might have actually already seen it. I saw one on Facebook earlier today. It might have been yesterday. Who knows? We can't remember. Now, we're, hi, by the way, my name's Paint with Josh. I'm going to be teaching you every single step from a dry, bare canvas with nothing on it. We're going to take our Bob Ross liquid white. We're going to do this one pretty quickly. I'm going to try to do it in about a half hour. That's going to be my goal, right? Now, we don't want to have too much paint on the brush, and we're going to start the timer right after we get all this liquid white all over the canvas, right? I do like to show you every single step, and that includes prepping the canvas, because we get the question all the time, Josh, how do you get the canvas wet? How do you do the liquid white? How do you put on the liquid clear? All that stuff. So we tend to show you these literally, quote unquote, literally every single step videos are going to be the most helpful for you, especially if you're just starting out, or if you need to see every possible step. Then these are the videos for you. There we go. Now, all we're doing is getting our liquid white and scrubbing it in. You can see with a lot of force, bending the bristles real hard, because you need to spread out that paint and make it very thin, right? We don't want any big goopy wet sections. We want it to be nice and thin across the entire canvas. And I'm going to show you how to check it, okay? So, once we get that thing all spread out, which goes on there pretty quickly with a big old 2-inch brush, we're going to test every spot on the canvas and the center. They should all be, I can't turn my thumb around that much. They should all be relatively the same. So you can see all the dimples and all the cool little bits that are inside the canvas. Right? And that's what you need to have, a very thin, thin, thin layer. Now let's come in. We've got literally almost every single color out today. Sap green, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, our madder carmine from Meaden, our yellow ochre, cad yellow, Indian yellow, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white. Now let's go into that Indian yellow color. You can see just how thick the paint is. It takes a lot of force to get it out onto your brush. Now, I'm imagining all my light's gonna be coming from this way, so let's put it over here. There, and if we're gonna do that, let's put it way down here at the bottom too. You don't need it to be directly underneath itself. It's going to get covered up by your mountain if you do it too close, so leave a good section in between. Then we're going to go into our yellow ochre, which is our next darkest color. Start the timer, by the way. A little bit of yellow ochre out here, just wherever, literally. Put it same places that you're putting it up top. Let's put it down around the bottom. And we shouldn't need that much more paint along the bottom of the canvas, so we don't really need to reflect anything else along the top. Now, this is a new color that I'm going to try called Permanent Alizarin Crimson from Winsor & Newton. All right, we're just going to test. Ooh, that's very bright reddish, sort of. Very reddish in its hue. I kind of like it though. Put a little bit of that up there, and then we're going to go into our dioxazine purple, which I might have forgotten to mention. You usually forget that old dioxazine purple. It's a really gorgeous color though. Don't put too much of it up there. Let's go blend out our sky and see what it looks like. We're going to take all this paint and stretch it. The whole goal about this wet on wet painting is we're stretching it from its original starting point, right? We're giving it a starting point out here on the canvas, and then we're going to blend it out. We're going to see what happens in its blending, right? It's going to grow, it's going to start to change, it's going to do all sorts of things, and we're just dabbing the brush on a paper towel over here to get it dry. So very first thing you guys got to do is just check in, tell me where you're watching from, and if you're watching over on the tube, just make sure you like the video. That's it. All right, we're going to start into the white. Always go for the brightest part of the canvas. At least get some paint onto the bristles. And then we'll work our way up into this yellowy color. And the more that we mix it, the more it's going to mix in with that white. Remember, the white is wet. Everything on the canvas is wet. All the colors are wet. Everything. Everybody. Everything is wet out there, right? So the more you mix it, the softer and softer and softer it gets, right? It starts fading away into almost nothing. Now, we're going to come up here and very lightly grab onto that permanent red crimson, or permanent alizarin crimson from Winsor & Newton. I grabbed it over at Michael's just to try it out. A little bit of our purple as we blend it down, right? The purple's going to want to go brown in our yellow sky, so we're going to be very gentle and easy on it. We want it to mix, right? I don't want a big old purple patch out there, but I don't want it to be too dark or too bright. Look at that, that's a cool little blend right there. Right? The more that you grab it, the more you mix it, the more it's all gonna become the same. So you have to start deciding how far do you want that dark color to come down, how red or how pink or how orange do you want your sky to be, because the more you mix it together, the more it's all gonna be the same. So if you wanna have little differences and little stuff, you get to get out there and do that. It's all up to you every time that you go to do a painting. It's another chance for you to do it another different way. Right? You can try something out, you can do this, you can do that. That's a neat looking sky out there, guys. Okay, now let's grab up our palette tool. I don't even want to put any clouds in it. I mean, we could. You could put some clouds in there if you wanted to just test it out. But just in 3 minutes, we got ourselves a little sky. Let's come out here. Let's pop in along there, along where the light meets the dark area. Just pop in a little touch of cloud. Go back, you go with your big old 2-inch brush if you can mix it up or dab off enough of that paint. Right? Just very lightly, throw it in, start mixing it. The more you mix it, the darker it's going to become. The darker it becomes, the more it's going to fade. So we get to decide how bright, how soft, whatever. It's all up to us. It's literally every single time. Let's come in here, little black, little crimson, little blue. Throw it down here. In just 4 minutes, we literally knocked out our whole sky. Now we've got this big bunch of darkness, right? We don't want our mountain to be too dark though, so let's take a little bit of white. Let's mix that guy into our whole pile. We don't want it to be too bright, but we don't want it to be too dark. There we go. It's only because we want it to be further away in the distance. Now let's wipe off our blade. We're gonna come in here, flatten it out, remove a section so there's literally a chunk out here. And I don't need my mountains to be too terribly big in this guy. Right there. Oh, perfection. Throw it down over the side. Seriously, the more time you spend doing these little guys, the more perfect you're going to want it to be. When it doesn't need to be perfect. The only thing we're really trying to get perfect is this top line along the edge of our mountain. There we go. Right? We're not even going to have too much paint or anything. And even on a small little guy, you can get up there with your big old 2-inch brush and start to blend it out. Right? Sliding it down, grabbing this guy, going off down in this direction. Taking this one, spreading it out in this direction, meeting it at its little ridge, and all of a sudden you got yourself a little mountain out there. Right? We're in control of what it looks like, how bright, how dark, how much of it goes away. You get this really cool little thing. Now let's take a bit of our titanium white and a bit of our Prussian blue. We're going to come down here. We're going to make like a sky blue color. That's exactly what we were looking for. Make sure you scrape it down to the bottom because that's where a chunk of that white paint is hiding. There, wipe off our blade. Right, come over here, grab another bit of white, a little bit more than we had before, and just a little sneak of that blue color that we had just made. Now, if we mix these two guys up, they're gonna look very bright, at least this one will, very bright against its little self. Right, and that way we'll have a bit of our whiter snow and a bit of our darker snow. Make it up a little bit white. There we go, that's what we wanna see right there. All right, mix that guy up. Remember, you can get your Paint with Josh palettes on my website, paintwithjosh.com. Come over here, grab a little bit of that blue. Really, where is the sun coming from? Because it's coming from everywhere. So let's imagine this is the brighter part since this side has our darker purple. We're going to come up here, grab it, and just allow it to attach. Very lightly grazing, pulling down little things, right? Everywhere doesn't have to be so perfectly perfect or all covered or this or that. It's a really cool little thing. Maybe we can sneak in just a little bit right back here. A little bit of blue light back there, right? Now we'll come in with our titanium white and our light blue mixed up together. Grab the edge of this guy and just start launching it off and floating the blade across the canvas, okay? The more you can float, the better mountains you're gonna have. You're just basically allowing it to attach and then just floating down. You don't wanna have too much pressure. You don't want to have too much paint on the blade, right? And if you can just float it, you break all those little things, and then don't cover it all, guys. Don't cover it all up. All right, let's come over here and start attaching. Maybe we came up into our snowy side and just covered over that whole little blue section in there, leaving all those little differences, right? We're in control of what it's going to look like every time, but now that we have this projection of light out here, it looks a little funky if we don't have a little bit of that blue snow down there as well. Try not to go too far with your mountains, guys. I'm telling you, they're gonna grow. They grow big. Let's come over here with our 2-inch brush, very lightly, very softly, dragging it up the opposite way that we had come down. So that means on our blue side, we need to rotate. come back this way. All it does is take away the smallest little bits of details down there. And then we can really come in and start tapping out more lines of detail that are just harder to see, right? We're not tapping everything away. We're grabbing some of that paint and allowing it, kind of like we do with our grass, to grow downwards, right? Making more details more difficult to see. Turn our brush the other way, come back this way, and tap out some of those little blue guys. All we're doing, again, making it a little softer for our next layer, and it doesn't all just have to be this random thing, right? We're making little specific details. One more time, transition back up into our little mountain. Very cool, guys, very cool. Now, what if we took a bit of our plaque mix over here, we mixed it with a bit of our sap green, about a half and half pile. That way we'll get this very dark green color back there. We don't need everything to be extremely bright green. We don't need everything to be extremely dark in our plaque color. We can have a little bit of both, okay? Now let's just decide, let's see it already. Let's come out here, a little bit of our greenish plaquish mix on that big old 2-inch brush, which we haven't even washed since we started. Just on the one side, right? Kind of pulling it down. So we have our paint just on that one side of the brush, making it a little flat out here. And let's decide what we're gonna do. Let's come down this way. Let's go on this side. Little bit, right? Saving a little bit of that mist and then rolling its way back up here. Tapping it in, tapping it in, tapping it in. Nothing out there has to be perfect. The only thing you're really looking for is whatever downward angle you have right here, at least try to match it a little bit on the way back. The more paint that you add, the more crazy little hill you're gonna start to notice. And you can take these guys all the way back, but literally we're just tapping it in a line, in a line, making that same little triangle on the way there, on the way back, right? Now, dab off our brush on a paper towel real good. So it's got very little paint on it. Then you can come up here and decide how big you want to have those things. The bigger they are, the closer they are, right? So if you can make it real small in the background, pushes it real far away, and then you're left to decide, what is it? What does it look? Are they trees? Is it grass? What's going on back here, right? If I want to tap it a bit more, I can have less details and work them a bit further over, right? Each time, you're going to change it, you're going to make it look a little different, right? Now, let's say, oh, that's looking cool. As long as we don't get rid of too much of that yellowy color with that green, it's going to look really neat. Very far away, very distant. Gonna grab our titanium white. Don't need anything else. Don't need your liquid white on these guys back here. We want it to look very far away. Therefore, it can't be big, right? If it's big or chunky or really wet, then it's gonna look like it's real close to us, and that's not something that we need. Okay, now let's just say, what if we had, let's see if we can sneak in a little smaller one further away back here, right? So we're gonna come in from a different angle. We gotta cut down through. Doesn't have to be too big. Beauty. Just a beautiful little hill out there, and again, if we're coming down at that angle, you have to have another angle over here, right? Whatever you want to do, you gotta have stuff there. Let's dab that guy off. And again, we're making this up as we go. Let's grab up here, and just get lower and lower and lower. So the same thing we did from up here, down there, grabbing it in a different way. Remembering that everything back here on the edges of your canvas are going to be covered up, either by trees or bushes or whatever it is. They're gonna have some coverage there, okay? So don't worry about what it is. Now, what if, let's toss in just one more little round of our titanium, it's just titanium white, just trying to skirt it in, just so you can see a small little thing is all, really. Right? Now, if you wanted to, you could fill these in. You don't need to, okay? It's not a need to do thing. If you want them to be a little darker, you could add a little bit more paint on it as well, but it's up to you. The majority of it's gonna get covered, so don't even worry about it, okay? We'll come in here a little bit more, onto the brush, and what if we turn and came through this guy? Pop another guy in down there like that, right? A whole nother little ridge. Just little things, little bits of land. And now watch, if you wanted to do this whole thing as grass, all you gotta do is start changing your angles. And now you're gonna have this whole little grassy thing that's out there in the day or wherever you're painting, right? Depends on what you want it to look like. Now, we can also have our big bush come right down through here. You could literally make this guy reflections over here. And swiping it off, very cool, very cool. And then if we wanted to, we could make this guy a whole bunch of reflection as well. and dragging him off this way. We're gonna have a whole big bunch of trees and bushes in front of him anyway. So it doesn't really matter what you do every time that you go to do it. Then we'll come with our big old tree on this side. We'll put a couple little trees back on this little guy, and everything will be all good. Right? Literally, what do you feel like painting that day? Because you are allowed to paint it however you want it to be. All right, again, this is just titanium white. I'm just gonna see what it would look like in there. A little bit of water, whatever. You can always go back over it with land. We're gonna change the whole face of how it looks anyway, so don't worry about it, okay? Perhaps over here, let's take a little bit of our dark color. There, that same dark green, and just scrape it in just like a water line would be. Okay, one little touch there, and then we can go back and we can decide how we want it to look. Very lightly swiping over. I just want to have a little bit of darkness underneath it, just to project some more distance when we get up in front here. Very cool, guys, very cool. Look at this little thing. Right, now, let's come back and make up some more paint. We're gonna take up our green color that we had made, that very dark black green color. We're gonna mix our black, our crimson, our blue right back into that guy to really darken it up. Make our paint with Josh black mix, you know. Blue and crimson are gonna make our purple color, and then the black makes our plaque. P-L-A-C-K, it's not spelled the other way. Now, let's start projecting some stuff out into the night, you guys. Let's take our little fan brush, right? This whole thing, remember, can be, and I'm thinking that's exactly what I'm gonna do, is make this all bushes and push our river off to the side, throw in one more big tree or 3 on the side, and we'll be all set. Now, we've only been painting for what, 14 minutes? And you can almost call this scene all the way done in 14 minutes. All I need you guys to do is just check in. Just tell me where you're watching from around the world. Oh, dudes, I can see something. Hang on, check this out. Let's put in one little guy right here. Boom, living down on his little self. Turn our brush. Let's get these little baby little taps, right? They don't even have to all be similar or the same or whatever. They don't have to be symmetrical. They don't have to fill in. They don't have to cover anything. Look at this little guy right down there. Just a little tree out there in the day. You gotta have enough texture on him if you want him to look close. He's gotta have that chunk. You gotta be able to fill in different places and make them look further away by having that tree be dark, right? Very cool. Now, I'm thinking if we're gonna have all this be bush in the front, let's do a big old crazy guy on this side too. Let's take all of our dark paint like this, and I'm talking about big old crazy guy. Yeah, right here, full thing, just straight down through the night. I'm gonna fill it all up, darkening all that stuff back. Remember, we're changing the face of this painting. It's not, especially the foreground down here, it's not going to be grassy water anymore. We're gonna have all these bushes and different things out here. And you have to have your bravery test every once in a while, like Bob would always say, by chucking in just an enormous old tree. We're gonna do the same thing on this side, but a little bit thicker, okay? So, then we'll fill in all the rest of our stuff. Since we've already got the brush in our hands, let's get over here and let's see what it's gonna look like to make one just a bit bigger. Maybe let's turn the brush vertically and add a little small guy over here. There we go. All the way top to bottom. Doesn't have to be super thick, but you want it a little bit fatter at the bottom than it is at the top. There we go. The more that we mess with it, the bigger it's gonna get, right? So, put it out there, leave it out there, come back, get a little bit more, and let's launch in this monster. I'm talking about a monster of a tree. All right, all these oil paints, again, are wet, remember? They're all thick, they're all wet, they're all blending with each other as you go over it, right? Make sure this one's a little bit thicker than that guy is back there. That's gonna be a cool painting. Right down here along the side, just making it nice and crisp, right? Black out all the rest of that stuff back there. You don't need to see it. Now, if your tree is not, or if my tree anyway, does not look dark, right? That's because all of the bright lights in here are making it look bright. So let's see what it looks like. Yeah, they look a little dark, right? This one's got a little glare on it. It should not be a bright color. You need it to be as dark as you possibly can. Because my lights are the way they are, right? That's better. Should be nice and dark. Okay? Then we're gonna go add in a whole bunch of our little sticks and twigs and little stuff in the front. Dude, we could literally leave it like that, or we could have it push through this way and fill up this whole thing full of bushes. Seriously, what do you want yours to look like? Right? What if we had this come out just a bit further, just with some dark land, right? That same dark paint We can have it come down here. We have this little muddy region. There we go, which we can then highlight with our brown color, a little bit of our yellow ochre. There we go. Take that guy, throw it back in here. How do you want it to look each time? Seriously, you can do whatever you want to do. Take this guy up into the grass. Remember, we're going to have some bushes and different things down in here as well. So, let's like get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. Very cool. Very cool. Now, let's take one more little guy. Since we got this little spot out front, let's just pop in this weird little bit. Just a weird, odd little bit. Just with our fan brush. You can literally do all sorts of different things with your fan brush. It's one of the most versatile brushes I've found that I like using anyway. We're gonna pop in a whole big bunch of bush down around here, which means we need enough of this dark paint in order to black out and have enough texture. And that's just not enough. You know what I mean? You have to have enough of that paint. Have you ever really watched Bob and like how big the piles of paint were on his palette and how much he was actually using when it was coming to that? Like the paintings must have weighed 30 pounds for how much paint he would put on there. All right, so let's mix in a bit of our sap green as well into this big old guy. That way our highlights will stand out a bit more yellowy greeny by the time we get done. But he was using an immense amount of paint, okay? We're talking about like this whole glob is probably just enough for our bushes on this one side because you want them to be so dark and so filled and so chunked that you can't see anything else on this white canvas, right? That's why I love painting on black canvas, because we have to use so much less paint. On the white canvas, you gotta make it so dark much as you can even add a couple little bits down around the bottom. Then again, come back in, let's take just a little touch of that guy, and we're gonna decide where our land is or where our land meets our water. Wipe it off just like that. What I tell you, didn't I tell you it was gonna look that way? What'd I tell you? I know, I already told you. A little bit of liquid white, a little bit of our titanium white. That way, it's very watery. It should come off the blade very simply, very easily. Look like a little bit of water as it's passing by. We can also take these guys, since we're gonna roll through these little bits of trees, if we want, right? We can have the river turn and roll through these little bits right here. Very cool. Now, let's get up the rest of this paint. Again, every bit of paint you can possibly get inside of the brush. Come back over here. Out into the night. Right? If we black all of this out now, then what happens? It forces our river to go back, turn this way again, right? Little things. We could have done it either which way the whole time. Either way, all by deciding what we want to do. And we kept a cool little projection out there like that. Just a little inlet. Very neat, you guys. Tell me that's not the coolest thing you've ever seen. Just, you can't. I know. It's neat. I feel you. Now, again, let's mix up one more big pile of this dark greenish paint, which we call grack, because we're taking our blue, right? An enormous chunk of blue, an enormous chunk of crimson, right? So same size, half the size chunk of black, and then that whole pile size worth of green. And let's mix all that guy together. And that way, we'll have this really dark, purplish, blackish color with a tinge of green that we call Paint with Josh grack. I didn't come up with it. Well, I guess I did come up with it, but you need an enormous pile of this stuff, okay? We'll come out here. Remember, this one you can find over on paintwithjosh.com. It's right there. It's on the very front of the home page. You can go get it and have it in your own house to look at. And you'll get to rewatch the YouTube video and watch it come to life on your wall. That's the coolest part, is when you get one of the paintings that we're doing while we're on the tube, then it, like literally as you're looking at it on your wall, you're watching the video come to life and you're like, oh, I never knew it was gonna look like that. And then boom, it ends up looking like how it looks on your wall. You know what I mean? A couple little branches here, a little thing over there. We don't need too many, and remember, you don't need too many details because we're gonna cover over the majority of that guy. There might only be a couple little spots sticking out the side that we can see, okay? Same thing, these guys may end up touching. In fact, if we come out far enough and we can get those branches to touch, they may end up touching, so you never know. Now, the only reason that it's coming off of the branches so simply and easily, right, coming off of my brush like that, is because the brush is very wet. Take our odorless mineral spirits, which is like water, so dripping down right there. It's very much like water, but it's not water. It's a chemical, you guys. You don't want to have that stuff. Let's come out here, we'll toss one in. It just doesn't even have any branches on it at all. Okay, now, one more along the top. Bink, bink, bink. Little bits. You might not even ever see any part of any bit of those branches. It all depends on what we decide to cover. Right? And we got a branch over here, one off of that side, up here. We're going to cover along the whole top of the tree, so don't even worry. Okay, now, come back to that very dark, very thick, crazy old paint, and let's start popping out little bits of stuff, covering over our trees, covering over the top. We don't need all of that crazy color up there. We do need a bit of texture though to make it close enough. Right? If you can leave a little space in between, that's where it's going to start looking really neat. What if, just what if, can we get one more? We can get one more little guy in here. Just out like that, okay? Again, pop it in, right through there. Doesn't even need to go all the way out, right? The more that you put on here, guys, the crazier cool it's gonna be. Pop that guy out, cut across the whole trunk. Again, taking out the rest of those little branches back there that we didn't need. Boop. Turn the brush on the side, let a couple little things dangle over the edge. That's what I like doing. I don't know how you guys like doing it, but that's how I like doing it. Very cool. Come in from the top. They're almost gonna, oh, they did touch, I told you. If you can leave a little bit of your branch kind of showing, cover up the whole rest of the top, right? All that stuff now adds all that distance to our painting, right? That was not there before. We're kind of looking through this little forest, covering over. Try not to let them touch too much up here. It's gonna look like the same tree. That's very, very cool though. Now, I do not want to do this over this area. Why not? Why don't I want to put branches like this right here? Why am I leaving this one branch exposed? Does anybody out there know? Do you see? Do you know why we're leaving that stuff? Thanks, Easter. Appreciate you. The mountain. Okay, that's good. Hey, Cosmic's here. What's up, Cosmic? Long time no see over there. This one's looking really cool. Distance? Well, yeah, I mean, so it would still project the distance if we were to put something there, right? It would still make the mountain look like it's behind something. Look at all this wet paint, right? That wet blue paint would instantly start mixing with all of this dark paint, and that would cause it to become a brighter color when in fact we need it to be dark so it stays up here close and pushes those guys further away, right? Very, very cool. Yeah, I didn't know Cosmic was here. Thanks for being here, Cosmic. Over there, over here. Why don't we take a little touch? Let's put there. Just a little bit of there. Just a little different texture on that little bush right there. Now, again, saving a very small line of that further away little guy. So there's a little inlet and the water comes and hits over here and then it's got to feed down and come through us. Man, that's looking cool. Okay, let's get over here and take our oval brush. This is the Bob Ross oval brush. Okay, we're going to dip into a fair amount of our liquid white. I guarantee you're not using enough liquid white when you're going to do these and you're not using enough of your paint, okay? So let's come out here. Let's maybe throw some on these little guys. So let's go a little of our yellow ochre, and you can see I'm dabbing into the chunky part of the paint pile. Not down here where it's very flat. Up here so I can get all that texture, all this nastiness. And then if I come over here, all that nastiness will deposit onto my dark bits of stuff, right? And then that is going to make it look like our little bushies out there. You get these cool little things, little bits. Remember, have some shadow back behind some stuff. Not everything can all be exactly the same. Oh, that's fantastic. Dude, I could literally do the whole thing over here too. How much paint, right? Now what happened? I touched, there's finally paint, and then touched over here and nothing, right? Because my bristles are stopping me from doing that. I would have to push in harder in order to get that. If I push in that hard on that paint, it's gonna mix together and become disgusting. And that's when you start making mud. Have you ever heard the term? You ever heard the term making mud? Because that's what you do when you get out there, bro. It's gross. If you're pushing with too much pressure, you're gonna make that muddiness, and it's not easily fixable, let me tell you. Let's come back over here. We're gonna grab up the same amount, a good bit of our liquid white. Okay, let's come over here into our sat green. I'm not pulling it out, right, into the brush. I'm literally Listen. Oh, it's all squishy. Ew. Gross. It's exactly what we need, though. Grab a little bit of our yellow ochre. Right there. Foul. Gross amount. Okay? Come over here. Tap on little bits. Come back. Tap them on again very lightly. Right? Not trying to cover every piece of everything. Just leaving some spaces out there. Okay? What if we changed it up? What if we have a spot like here, over there, and again, not everywhere has to be fully covered up. Okay? Let's wipe off that green or clean it off because it doesn't come off easily off of the brush. You gotta get in there with your mineral spirits, get it all cleaned up. Over here and over there. Yeah! Okay. Now, let's go into that liquid white one more time. I'm gonna need to get more of it because there's nothing left in my little jar. Let's come over to our cad yellow and our yellow ochre. Kind of mix those guys together. See the little fingers that are stuck on there? So then we can come back in here, pop on a couple little highlight bits, just very small little things that are catching some light in different places, right? Not everywhere is going to all be the same all the time. We know that. So we can't cover everything all exactly the same all the time. Please don't, okay? Now, same thing up here, but now we're gonna need some more of our liquid white. Because you cannot get the paint to stick to this thick paint without having your liquid white, or at least having something to thin it down with. And if you're not thinning it down, that's why your bushes are not looking good, right? Because your paint is too thick. See, that's the right amount of liquid white. Dunk it in there and you get a good amount of it on your brush, okay? What did Bob always tell us? That a thin paint would stick to a thick paint. I'm gonna put a little bit of it there and a little bit of it here so I can grab a little of this, grab a little of that. There, that's gonna be a cool color. Maybe grab some of our cad yellow too, why not? There's all different colors on here, okay? Now, let's stay along. Not try to cover up too much, right? We have to cover some of it, but we don't have to cover all of it. Okay? It all does not have to be as bright. It doesn't have to be as thick. It doesn't have to do anything that we don't want it to do. All we're trying not to do is cover up every spot of darkness. If we cover every spot of darkness, guess what happens? We lose all of our depth, you guys. We can't have that. We cannot lose our depth because we wanted to see too much. And even up here, now it's too bright in the very back of the tree. So I'm gonna kind of tap at it and take that brightness away, right? Look at that, foul, foul. Now, we'll come over here and again, because we've touched it so many times, our brush has become dirty and dark, so we either need to wipe it off or clean it off. Go back, get a little bit more of our liquid white, right? Remember, everything is really wet over here. Just like that, a little bit of our sap green as well, so it's not the same color. Come off of this guy, just tap on little bits. Little things, right? Not everywhere is going to be so bright or so covered. And remember, the harder that you're pushing, the more chance of mud mixing that we're gonna do. Okay, we don't wanna mix mud. So now, after these two sections, there's not enough paint left on the brush to continue. I can feel it with every time that I tap the bush and it doesn't come out as brightly as this. I know that the paint is falling off the brush, right? A little bit more liquid white. A little bit more into my colors, up into here. Not everything needs to be as bright, Josh, so don't touch it everywhere. Just like that. Oh, holy shaving cream. Yeah, guys, that's amazing. Dude, look at the depth, the distance. We could even, let's pop in one more little bit, right? There. Oh, perfect. Just perfection. Right there. And then we can get one more little touch of color onto these guys. There it is, fading away into the night. Oh, you dudes, you guys and gals and paint and pals, holy shaving cream. Okay, let's get in here and start to launch in. You know what, we gotta do our little guy over here too. And then we're gonna throw in our trunk of our trees, right? We gotta put some serious trunk on these trees back in here. So, seriously, 30 minutes and we've about done this whole painting. We're gonna take care of a little bit of our green, a little bit of our cad yellow again. Excuse me, yellow ochre. I love the green and the yellow ochre when you mix them together because they kind of make like a brownish, like more of a almost fall type of faded away green. There, a couple little baby bits of color. You don't need them all to be the same, and you don't need them all to be so bright, especially the ones down around the bottom. There. There! Oh, man, look at that tree! Holy shit and cream, man. Is this one not sold? Is this one I haven't even looked. Is this one still available? It's still there? Are you kidding me? Okay. Okay. Man. I thought I was going to leave the branch bare too. Like, I mean, technically I did leave the branch bare, but we covered up some bits of it. All right, now, here's going to be the coupe de grace, okay? Yes, the coupe de grace. First thing we're going to do is get rid of all this snowy paint. We don't need all this stuff anymore. That's way back in the past, man. All that nasty, snowy stuff. Then we're going to take our two brown colors, so our Van Dyke brown, which is the darker brown. We're going to need more than that, Josh. There we go. We're going to need our dark Sienna brown, which is the lighter color browns. We're going to mix those two guys together. And as we mix them up together, it's going to make one dark brown color. And that's going to be perfect for the back side of our trees, the non-bright side, the shadowy side, okay? So we're going to wipe off our blade, and this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you right over here, or right here in this bright area. I'm going to scoop up some paint, so you have this little roll, and then what we're going to do is touch, and then touch, and touch, and touch, and then come back next to it, and touch, and touch, and touch. Come back next to it, and touch, and touch. And if we can leave some spaces in between, tell me that doesn't look like a tree bark, piece of branch thing, or whatever already, right? Good luck surviving the night or whatever. 2 swords, yeah. Okay, we're gonna come in, we're gonna grab up an enormous amount of this paint, right? So a big old roll of it on the end. It's a huge bit of paint. We're gonna come off the back side of our trees and just tap at it and kind of spread it out about 60% of the way from the left side to the right side, right? Or whatever, your shadowy side to your bright side. Go from the edge to about 60% over the edge. Don't try to fill every single space in, okay? Come back down here. A little bit more of that brownery. Right? And sometimes turn your blade this way because you're afraid of going over the edge. There we go. Tapping it in, tapping it in, tapping it in. Now remember, it's going to be thick. It's going to feel like actual tree bark by the time you get finished because it's so thick. Right? So same thing. You got this big old guy, just tapping, 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 moving up and down, kind of flattening it, right? We don't want to just mush it flat like this, or grab it flat and roll it that way, because it's harder to do, and you don't get those ridges down the trunks, right? If you can leave some pure plaque paint, that original darkness, in between these bits of your darker brown, then guess what, guys? Yes, it'll look like little ridges in your branches and stuff, right? Or your trunk of your tree. Man, you can come up in here, literally just kind of right over or right in between your branches up top, one little small little bit, and all it's going to be is some texture for the person who's purchased it to be like, ooh, look at all this bark, look at all these little branches and little trees and stuff. Now we got one more little section before we brighten up our paint, okay? We're going to do it on this back tree back here. Doesn't need to be as crazy. We're not really going to see a whole lot of it because of our little branches and bushes and stuff. And now that we've got all sides done up with our dark paint, let's take about the same amount of yellow ochre and the same amount of brown, and let's mix those two guys up. And this will turn into a very gorgeous little, like a lighter brown, but not supremely bright, right? We don't need it to be too bright. If it's too bright, it's not gonna do its job. This needs to be shadow 2. We got shadow 1, now we're gonna go shadow 2. So we're gonna pop in a little bit of shadow 2 up here. Little touch, maybe up there. Tapping it on, working it from about the edge on the right to about 60% of the way across again, so you get that little bit of fading from the lighter to the darker wood. Right? And then we're going to come on with our highlight at the very front and make that guy as bright as we can. Again, kind of tapping over, but missing certain sections. Not everywhere is going to be shown on these trees. Remember, nothing out there is going to be perfect on our very first go either. So if you're trying it and you're like, ah, damn it, I can't get this thing like Josh gets it, just keep having a good old try at it, right? That's all I ever do, is try it. Try it, see if it works. Right? Again, tapping down, going over into our shadow area, picking up another enormous glob and tapping it on, because you need all that globbery for your texture, right? If you don't have enough glob up here, then it's not going to feel like tree bark, right? So, and the more that you have, good Lord, that's a lot right there. There we go. The more that you have, the more texturous it's going to become by the time that you're all dried up and you can actually feel it, right? So, here we go for the last portion, my friends. In just about under 40 minutes, we've done this whole thing. Let's take our yellow ochre. Let's go find a spot for it right here. Just pure yellow ochre. Bang, right there. Scoop it up a little bit. Come along the edge. Boop, 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 boop. Right? Very lightly tap on a bit of that yellow ochre along the side. Now, it doesn't need to be as bright everywhere. It can also drag over a little bit further than your, let's not do any up there. Let's come over here. Drag over a little bit further into your shadow too, right? And all it's doing is having that light wrap around the trunk of the tree, little brighter places, little darker places, is all we need. Again, come back a little bit more of our yellow ochre. Back in here, just kind of tapping on, and then we'll let it fade into the tree. Never really has to be too bright or go all the way or even go halfway across. You don't have to do whatever you don't want to do. Right? That guy out there on the front looking real nice. Now, say you went too far. Like, oh no, I came over too far. Just go back over with your darker paint. And all of a sudden, you've taken that bright spot away, put your shadow back on your bright space on the other side. And get those light areas coming through the trees. You guys, this one is amazing. Let's come in here, scrape in just a couple little sticks and twigs that are growing out of these darker areas, holding up some of these little things back in there. And then again, in the front, just with the point of the knife, scrape it out, scrape it out. This palette tool is a wonderful thing, you guys. You can do so many little things with this palette tool, I'm telling you. Now, you guys got to come up with a title for this painting because it is gorgeous. Yeah, guys. And remember, if you grab it on paintwithjosh.com, you'll be the person that gets to title it forever. So I'm going to throw in the old bird fam right out here in the center, just going just flying through the night. Oh, I love it. Yes. Okay, let's see. Throw in the old signature. Figure out. Let's take some more of this dark paint down here, though. Yeah, gonna have a little land where it comes down and meets my water. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. All right, let's sign this guy down here. And you guys start coming up with a title. Remember, if you purchase it, you get to come up with the title forever. Forever. That's going to be up to you and the person that grabs this painting. So, all you got to do is get over there, put it in the cart, and then check out. The mods will tell you how to get there. Everybody knows. It's also right here. Everybody knows where to go, what to do. And my goodness, there's already tons of people over there looking at it, guys. So if you want it, you better get it fast. There's more than just you looking at it. So, if you want to grab it, get over there and get it quick, and then come back and tell us what the title is, man. Look at this one. With the river and shit. Ah, man. Just, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Get some more white back in here. There. Clean up that little shadow that we never touched up. There. It's gorgeous. It's very hard to go back and do it once they got all this stuff in the front. So be gentle if you're going to try to go back. Man, look at the depth on this one, though, for real. Plains of Glory. I like that. Peak of view. That's cool. Peak of view, right? Like you're going to peeking through the clouds over here. That's all. Just hanging out. Okay. I'm going to finish washing off these brushes. You guys got to come up with a title. There's more than one of you over there. There's more than 5 of you over there. There's more than 100. No, I'm just kidding. I wish there was 100 people over there. So go check it out. You're not the only one looking, so you better be fast with it. If you're not fast, I can't help you. If someone else beats you to it because you were just messing around over there, I can't help you. I mean, I could repaint you another one, but no one is going to be exactly like this one. That's the best part about it. Always so unique. Okay, hit me with your titles. What are we going to call this guy? It is a That is one of my favorites, like quite honestly, one of my faves. Look at these trees in the front. Woo! Right. Over here, over there. Guy all clean. You guys hit me with your titles. I gotta clean up the palette. Clean up all the paper towels and all the nonsense over here. So let me know. What do you want to title this little guy? And then we'll see what everybody says. Man, that's a lot of paint to wipe off. Ugh. Just gross. Foul. Oh, it's foul. There we go. We need more paper towels. We're gonna need some more paper towels. Guys, I gotta go to Fred Meyer and get some more paper towels too, because we are nearly out at the studio over here. Might have to take them from my own house and bring them down here. There. Remember, you can get your Paint with Josh black palettes or clear palettes on paintwithjosh.com. Just gotta go over there. You scroll down a little bit and you'll see where it says palettes. That's where you want to be if you want to grab the palettes. We have them in large size and in small size. And black and clear in both large and small sizes. Here we go. Okay, what do we got for titles over here, guys? Boy, oh boy. Mountain Glacier, Mountain Bliss. Thanks, Bobby Bracasso. Golden Hour, that's cool. Mountain Sunshine. Just Peachy, I like that too. That's a cool title. Just Peachy. Man, Landslide, that's cool. I dig it. Oh, Globbery. Did I say that? Did I say that at some point? Tranquil Dawn Glacier Falls. You guys are amazing. Mountain Valley Crupulous Hour. I don't even know what that means, honestly. Sunset Hills, Sunset Peaks. Man, you guys have some serious titles. Just quite honestly, serious titles, dude. There we go. Get you guys back over here so at least I can see your comments and you can see the painting. There. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Twisted Water, Mountain Reflections. That's a cool title too. And this one came out way too good. Smoke Spot. I feel that. I tucked back in here like nobody's around, bro. Okay, let's title it real quick. So again, hit me with your titles. And if you like this one enough, it's over there on paintwithjosh.com. You can go grab it. Very cool, man. I like this one disconnected little branch, right? Like the brush came out and hit it right there. It's totally away from all these other little guys, but I like it. It fits, you know what I mean? It's like the branches are so skinny right there. It just fits out. Peace in the Pines, that's cool. That's cool. Peeking in Between. Well, I dig it. The Viewfinder, like that. Through the Forest, that's a good title too. Secret Pineapples. Snowy Mountain Sunset, excellent. Hidden Oasis. I think I like Through the Pines too. That's a cool title. Through the Pines, you guys. So like I said, hit me with your titles one more time. I gotta have a little drinky poo. Come on. Oh man, that lava burst. You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. High Sea Orange, man. Yes. Okay. Through the Pines was a very cool title. I like that. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. That's a neat title. This painting came out so awesomely. My goodness. It has got so much chunk on it. There's nowhere to even grab it. If you want a textured painting, this is the one. Dude, oh my lord. This is the one for you. There, just make the whole top edge dark. Like that is as black as black gesso. That's how much color is on that thing. That's how dark it is along the top because there's so much paint on this painting. It literally weighs more than other 16 by 20 inch canvases that I have because there's so much paint on it. Through the Pine. Look at that. Foul, bro. Gross. Where's my marker? There. Okay. Through the Pines. Over here, over there's anybody remember what number this one is? 1962? Shoot. Mods? Guys? Cosmic? Anybody? 1962. Thank you. I appreciate it. 1962. Whoop, whoop. Right there. Okay. Calling it Through the Pines. Like that for a title. True Pines. This one was painted on 7/27/2027. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com because it's like the best place ever. You got to go over there and check it out to find this painting, to find other paintings, merch, shirts, hats, puzzles, posters, canvas prints, all sorts of stuffery, plus the originals, which you can find for much less than you might think. All right, get over here, my friend. Thing's slippery. It's got so much paint on it. Look at that. Literally chunktified everywhere. So, grab this one. Go grab the other ones that would literally, we've got some of these ones for $119, $109, $139. And so some of the bigger ones are up for $229, like lower than they normally are, guys. They're on sale. So you got to get over there and find your favorite before someone else does. Look at all that paint was just on the side of the canvas where I was touching it. Okay. The whole thing is textured along the edge. All right, you guys have been amazing. Everybody over there on the tube, you guys come hang out with us over on TikTok for a minute. We're going to hang out for just a few, chit-chat and all that stuff that we always do. You can find more tutorials in the live section of my YouTube channel or my videos section. We do have one where I did a seascape in 22 minutes. There's another Oregon coast seascape in 22 minutes. And then I plan on having at least one mountain scene. I just have to edit it. And I think that's going to be about the 22 to 25 minute mark for that one. Trying to get faster little tutorials for you guys so it doesn't take you as long to do them. And that doesn't mean that they're any less fun or any less difficult or whatever. We're just getting better at teaching you how to do it faster, right? So, can't wait to see your versions over there on YouTube. Send them in to me on facebook.com/ what is my thing? Oh, Facebook is @officialpaintwithjosh. Instagram @paintwithjoshk, YouTube @paintwithjosh, and TikTok @paintwithjoshk. So wherever you're at, I'm also somewhere else. Come find me. Come follow me over there. And until I see you guys again over on YouTube tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 on the East Coast, take care. Have the rest of a good day. Shit, I had it. And pow. Oh, I said I was never going to do that baboosh sound again. And there I go. I did it again, like literally every time.